So I saw this online, and I was just like, nah. I didn't really like mess with it heavy. Meaning, like, I was like, I didn't agree with it for one, for starters, right? But also, I didn't really kind of like understand or comprehend this dude's, I guess, his logic, right? So, what I'm getting into is talking about, if you don't know this artist, he's an independent artist, big time artist, very successful. One of my faves. His name is Russ. Russ, right? So he had this upcoming European tour, and he had posted on his Instagram or on his stories or something like that. But essentially, he canceled the tour due to like mental issues, right? And I've been seeing a lot of stuff on this online, like a lot of back and forths and a lot of agreements, disagreements, hate, appreciation, mixed feelings on the whole thing. But it canceled it because there was a long explanation, essentially being, and this is just a summarized version of it, but essentially he got hit with some news, he got info on it, and it's just like not right in his head, and he's not in the correct mental space to, tour all of Europe, which is a lot, a lot. When you're touring Europe, you're not talking about a week long. You're not talking about like it's just 2 weeks, blah blah blah. It's like months. You know what I'm saying? And furthermore on that too, it's like, bruh, he's losing out on millions. You think he wants to cancel that stuff as an independent artist at that? A lot of artists make the majority of the money on the road because they get paid for shows. They make the money on the road. Furthermore than that, when you're an independent artist, that's when you for surely like make your money. And it's a good gauge to see what your fan base is at. Now, I'm not an artist. I'm not pretending myself to be one, but that's a good gauge to be like, how many people are fucking with me, especially internationally. You know what I'm saying? How are these ticket sales going in Europe? Not a lot of people can, artists, pop artists, you name it. Not a lot of them can sell out and tour at a European level, international. I'm not talking about locally or in the States. European, dog, like that shit's heavy. But yeah, so he canceled it. Gave his explanation, even though, like I said, realistically, didn't need to freaking do the whole explanation. But in that too, there was already, like I said, amongst all the plethora of the internet people, throwing shade and all that stuff. That's whatever. You can get over that. I mean, you can't escape that. That's regardless. But he had another fellow artist come at him with some, with some comments. And if you don't know who I'm talking about Lil Pump. Lil Pump. Remember him? Yeah, that guy. Remember him? Yeah, that guy. Basically, if you put a video himself of him saying like, I'm from Dade County. We were born with the mental illness or something like that, or born with mental problems. And he essentially was telling Russ to suck it up, stop being a bitch, suck it up, and to get over it and to do the shows like that, right? So those two things. And I feel like this was a good thing to talk about and break down here because I've talked about mental stuff before and the importance of prioritizing your mental health and also getting the perspectives on stuff, So here's the thing. So for one, let's start with Russ himself. If you know Russ, if you listen to his music, if you're a fan of his, the majority of his music is like soulful. The majority of his music comes from a place of what's the word I'm looking for? It comes from a place of like heartbreak. It comes from a place of like feelings. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't know his music, or if you're not a fan of him, you can listen to it and you could feel it. So I think he's like 2 years younger than me, 2 years younger than me, maybe a year younger, something like that. 2 years or 1 year younger than me. So we're basically around the same age. But, I've been following him and his music for, I don't know, probably like 7 years now. Probably, yeah, what? Yeah, probably like 7 years now. And, yeah, there's a reason why he like a lot of people gravitated towards him. And the reason why he has a lot of fans and everything was because of the music. He always talk about people have always talked about how much the music has helped them mentally. People have always told him how much music has helped him get through like a heartbreak or something like that, or how much the music has helped them get over whatever mental hurdle, they might be going through in the moment, and how much his music has done for them. Right. So I'm saying all that to give like some background, some context in this, in that this isn't canceling a whole tour or whatever, or saying he's going through some mental stuff. This isn't the first time he's had, some hurdles to cross. This isn't the first time he's had to deal with some adversity and stuff like that. And again, I'm not his rep, bro. I'm not speaking for him. I'm just giving you my opinion. Okay. So one, he's been there, done that, done with some mental stuff. And I'm sure he's always had to push through plenty of times, like to be able to make it as a successful independent artist in this game, you have to have some fucking balls behind you. You have to, go through some shit, get over some shit. And you have to, you don't have to do anything, but I'm sure he's been there, done that type of thing, so that's number one. Number two, we don't know the context of what information was given to him or what exactly he's going through. We don't know it at all, We could speculate, we could assume. Sure, everybody can do that, right? But it's like, we don't know exactly what's going on with him and how much it's affecting him. Because if it comes to a point where he's just like, man, I don't want to do this tour anymore because I'm just not right. We're not talking about like a sore throat. We're not talking about like he stubbed his toe or some shit like that, If it gets to a point where it's like you're canceling out, again, a whole European tour and losing out on millions, dog, like that means that something is not right for you. Something is definitely not there. And so that's number two. We don't know what the hell. And number three, it's also not, when a person says that they're going through this and is not right mentally and they're not right in the headspace currently, which should be a red flag, already, to be like, man, I hope he's okay. That is not the time for everybody to pile on the dude. That is not the time for Lil Pump and other artists to be like, yo, suck it up, quit being a bitch. Like, that's not the answer. Because then what starts to happen is that's when you start to hear those conversations. I'm not saying this is the levels of that. I'm not saying I hope he doesn't go there or anything like that. But when something starts to happen and people start to do something to themselves, then that's when they start being like, oh, damn, why didn't he speak up? Or damn, there was no signs, there was no clues, he never said anything. That's when they start being like, oh, I wish he would have not done that. Why didn't he just speak out? Well, because he did. And then when they do speak out, then they start to get this type of backlash for the type of things. You know what I'm saying? Again, I'm not saying it's going along those lines, and I hope it doesn't. I don't wish that on anybody. I'm not saying he's going to do that, but I'm just saying there's a fine line that we're towing over, like support versus slander. Like, be careful how you come at a person, because then that's what it's, and that's just, he's just being used, not even just being used as an example, because I'm just using him as an example right here. But then other people outside looking in, other people might look at that and be like, you see, that's why I don't like to say anything. You see, that's why other dudes might look at this and be like, you see, that's why I don't talk about this shit. See, that's why I hold this stuff in. That's why, therapy, fuck that. I don't want no one to look at me like this. Fuck that. Because then it's like, it's the, it's fragile male ego. They don't want to come off looking like weak. So it's just, overall, it's like, that was number three. It's pretty weak for you to come at a person like that. Number four, damn, I might even go to 5. Number 4, it's like, dude, if you say, this is, again, Lil Pump, Sir Lil Pump. If you say, I think, what's his name? Something Garcia? What's his name? What's his real name? Something Garcia, I want to say. But in the video that you say, and that you put, if you yourself say, man, I was born with mental issues, get over it. That's, bro, if you're saying you were born with them, well, first of all, you can't be like, I'm from a county and be like, I was born with it. The county has nothing to do with your mental problems. It could be, you may be a product of your environment, but ultimately you have the choice to come to a path where there's a fork on the road. Like, do you want to continue or do you want to change? Do you want to continue or do you want to change? So I don't use the whole, I'm from this area to, box yourself into that, that doesn't even make sense to me. But again, that's just my opinion. But for you to, let's just say you're saying somewhat of what you're saying is factual, or somewhat that you're saying is true, or at least that you believe in, it's not cool to be like, well, I was born with this. Because it's like, bro, go get some help then. I know that's like a reach. Maybe I'm taking it too literal. But it's like, if don't say, you know what I'm saying? Like that you're going through this and then bash a person for going through that. But just be like, you got to deal with it. You're not like, bro, what? Again, we don't know the information at hand. We don't know what he's going through. But also, you don't have a European tour. You could barely even get a regular tour. Like, come on, dog. There's just levels. So, Lil Pump, just, be more mindful about that shit.